Well, I've just heard from the Government Economic Service, and they told me that I've been successful in getting my 12-month placement at the Treasury in London, where I'll be working in an international tax strategy and coordination team. And I'm really looking forward to it, and it sounds like a very great opportunity for me to develop myself as an individual. Well, the basic thing, you either have to be doing a degree in economics or, for instance, like one of my course mates, he's doing a degree in financial economics. Or you have to have at least 50, if you're doing a joint degree, you have to have at least 50% of economics modules. That's the first requirement. The second one is that you have to be up for a 2-1. The other one is that you have to be either a UK citizen or you have to be from the EEA. That's the only requirements, but you can always look it up on the Government Economic Service website. For instance, the current placement student is writing his project about inheritance tax and how it's changing the way individuals manage their finances and how it changes for how they plan their future. So so the Treasury is really open in terms of what you really want to do when you work for them. So it's not like you're not just like a student who comes in and makes coffee for everyone. You're actually meant to do your work, and you're working as a part of a team. The application process itself involved writing, just filling in an application form where you had to write down your exam results, and then you had to write 2 statements. One was about why you would like to work for the government, and how you would pretty much benefit for what benefits you thought you could get from working for them, and how they would benefit from having you as their employee for a year. The other statement that I had to write was about the different set of skills that I've got. So it was pretty much about me describing the kind of things I did whilst being a student at the university, and it had to be something that involved some other kind of activities, not only studying. Obviously, I needed to demonstrate several skills like team working, organizing things, my time management, how I strive to achieve in whatever I need to do. I did try to concentrate on researching the Government Economic website, which provides all the information needed for the application process, and it provides you with all the job descriptions of what kind of things economists working both for the Treasury or for the Home Office or for other departments, because there are many departments that you can actually apply for. I really wanted to work for the Treasury, so that's what I'll try to concentrate on. Well, basically, I tried to read as much about the Treasury itself, and as much about what was it that economists working for the Treasury actually did. And I tried to use the knowledge I gained by going to other employers' presentations, where they're actually saying that when you go to an interview or when you're filling in an application, you should try to use the kind of wording that we use on our website. So that's what I tried to do. Whilst filling in the application, I also used my CV, because I do tend to visit the career service very often, and I try to keep my CV updated at all times. Well, obviously I knew that I would be asked about economic concepts, so I did quite extensively concentrate on my lecture notes and on the books which I use for my course, which was great because I had exams coming like right around the corner. So it was useful in terms of preparing for the exams because I was still using the same kind of material. And it's just whatever you do, just make sure you do your research about your employer and make sure you prepare for your interview. And obviously I did come to the career service on many occasions, and I took part in their presentations about interviews and their interview skills. They were really, really useful. And I did it all in my first year because I didn't really have that many things to do. This year I didn't find it quite, I did find it quite more challenging to find the time to come to the career service, but all the presentations I went to were really useful, and I actually saw all the things that I might have read about in guides about applying for job placements or for just jobs. I could actually see how it has benefited me as an individual and as as an applicant, so to say. And because they're looking for someone who would be able to explain difficult things in a simple way. So when I was preparing for my interview, I tried to look for examples from my previous experiences that would show that I can actually do it. And one such example was my going to schools and teaching about economics whilst being a part of a students in free enterprise. Because that's what sets you apart from 20,000 other people applying for a job that you just might get because you're special, because you have a different hobby, or because like one day you decided to do a speed typing course like I did. So it's all the little things that set you apart from the others. In my interview, they asked me to give an example of when I tried to challenge someone who was older, who was my superior, and if I ever did it at work or at any other situation. And I give an example of when I was working for the Victim Support and Witness Service office in Liverpool, and when I realized that there were more efficient ways of doing things in the office, like developing new databases. And I gave an example of when I was talking to the finance manager, who's like one of the most important people in the office. And I gave this example, and then I tried to explain how I tried to do it so that I could, so that the office could benefit from my suggestions, and at the same time I wouldn't have problems later on working and interacting with the finance manager. So that was in terms of my preparation for the application process and interview itself. And then I heard from the Treasury after about 3-4 weeks, and I got an email saying that I got an interview with them. Because as far as I know, when you apply to work for any of the big 4 companies or any other professional services firms, they mostly try to concentrate on your skills and on your achievements. What kind of set this interview apart from the other ones which I've had in the past was that it concentrated more on my economical knowledge. So they did actually ask me to draw some curves and the things that I was learning at university. So it was great. It was a great opportunity for me to actually realize that what I study at university is useful, because you hear people saying that, you study one thing at university, but once you start work, it's a bit different because people don't really require you to know all the graphs and all the statistics. Well, this time it was actually like this. They did ask me to write down everything. They asked me to explain things. What they asked me to do is, for instance, explain advanced economic theory in the way that someone who's never had anything to do with economics would understand. I also had a maths test that I needed to take after my interview. And it was also a bit different to the ones the test I've taken in the career service at my university, because the tests that they have at the university are more numerical, so to say, whereas this time I actually had real raw data, like GDPs from different countries, and I had to analyze the data and also apply the knowledge I gained whilst doing my course. For instance, calculate the inflation rates if I knew how the prices have changed over a very long period of time. So it was also a bit challenging. It was a bit stressful, but then again it was motivating because you had the adrenaline, and it was a great thing to do, and I'm really happy I took part in the recruitment process itself, and I'm even more thrilled to hear that I actually received the placement. What I did a few months before I actually got the placement, I did my extensive research on Facebook, and so to say, and I found this group for placement, the Treasury placement students. And I was lucky enough to actually meet a girl who will also be doing a placement, but working for a different department, and she was also looking for accommodation. So we just thought it would be good if we look for accommodation together, and we could possibly rent out a flat together. It would be cheaper than just renting a place on our own. Because as far as I know, there are two most efficient ways by which you can find an apartment in London. It's either through the internet. We're doing our research through Gumtree, and the other way that I know of is basically going down to London and talking to estate agents. Well, I'll be paid about £18,650 for the entire placement, so that's per annum, minus taxes. Even though I'll be working for the tax team, I'll still have to pay taxes, so that's a bit unfortunate, but I still have to do it. Well, I think I'll be repeating what most careers advisors say, but from my own experience, it turns out that it's actually right what they're saying. First of all would be do your research, do visit the websites of your employer, and if you're applying for the government economic service, you have to really see their website and see what kind of wording they use, and do your research properly. The other thing would be prepare your application process like beforehand. Don't leave it all till the end. And also make sure you actually want to do the job. Make sure you want to work for them. And when you're applying and when you're in your interview stage, make sure that you actually know why you want to work for them. So these are the key things that I think are really important. I'm really excited about my placement, and I can't wait to start it.